This conference will now be recorded.
Good afternoon. I am continuing with acute pancreatitis. Hello. Pathophysiology of acute pancreatitis. I think it may be covered. Clinical features. For acute pancreatitis, there is no pathognomonic signs and symptoms. Abdominal pain is severe and continuous. Nausea, vomiting, tachycardia, tachypnea, hypotension, abdominal distension, pleural effusion, Gray Turner sign in the flanks, Cullen sign around the umbilicus, subcutaneous fat necrosis, mild icterus. Abdominal pain, it is due to irritation of the parietal peritoneum and celiac plexus, which carry the sensory nerves, pain, nausea and vomiting due to paralytic ileus, which causes nausea and vomiting, tachycardia, tachypnea, they are parasympathetic symptoms. Hypotension due to hypovolemia, increased permeability of the gastric capillaries, vascular permeability. There is thought space loss. So venous return will be decreased and hypotension will occur. Abdominal distension due to paralytic ileus and inflammation of the bowel. There is abdominal distension. Pleural effusion due to pancreatitis. Mostly it occurs in the left side, but it occurs both sides. Initially occurs at the left side because tail of the pancreas, which is more close to the left side of the diaphragm. Due to irritation of the diaphragm, there is tachypnea, shallow breathing, reactionary effusion, basal crepes, basal atelectasis of the left lower lobes, Gray Turner sign, Cullen sign, which is due to subcutaneous hemorrhage, subcutaneous fat necrosis, mild icterus due to spasm, blockage of the sphincter of body, spasm of pancreatic duct and common bile duct. Investigations: hematocrit, which is increased due to dehydration, hemoglobin, bluduria, serum creatinine. Due to hypovolemia, there is redistribution of the circulation of the blood and decreased perfusion of the blood to the kidneys and peripheral muscles, skeletal muscles. Main circulation goes to the brain and cardiac system, and then lungs, and then kidneys. So there is accumulation of the byproducts, diester products. So increased bluduria, serum creatinine, hypochloremic metabolic alkalosis, hyperbilirubinemia, hypocalcemia. Free calcium levels are decreased. There is saponification of the fat. Calcium will bind to this fat, so it leads to the formation of the stones. The free calcium levels will decrease called hypocalcemia. Calcium which is present in free form and binding form. Serum amylase level. This is the initial indicator, but not the confirmatory investigation. Usually up to 60 international units is normal. 3 to 5 times is suggestive. More than 400 units. More than 1000 units is confirmatory. Why? Because it is not confirmatory means because it is elevated in some other conditions also. In sepsis, no correlation with the severity. Level may be high but less severe. Level may be low but severity is high. Like in pseudocyst, infected pseudocyst, returns to normal after 3 to 5 days. Urinary amylase is more sensitive. In pancreatic necrosis, the level may be normal, but pancreatic necrosis is more severe condition, lethal, which leads to high mortality. Hyperlipidemia, PMLase is more specific. Increased levels of serum amylase seen in other conditions like aloviscous perforation, perforated peptic ulcer, acute cholecystitis, small bowel obstruction, mesenteric ischemia, serum lipase, which is elevated for longer time for around 1 to 2 weeks. So it is more specific than serum amylase. Serum indicator of highest probability. Others like activation of peptides, auto activation due to chronic storage, due to obstruction of the duct, there is self-activation of the enzymes which cause proteolysis and increase the level of peptides. C-reactive protein, initial 48 to 72 hours, there is no role. After 72 hours, more than 150 milligrams is highly specific and severity is high, more severe pancreatitis. It almost correlates with the severity of the pancreatitis. Interleukin 1, interleukin 6, TNF alpha, these are all inflammatory mediators, play a main role in the pancreatitis. So there is inflammation of, there is increased or elevation of inflammatory mediators. These are useful for prediction of the severity. Plain X-ray abdomen, chest X-ray. In plain X-ray abdomen, there is some signs: sentinel loop sign, colon cutoff sign, renal halo sign, calcified gallstones, pancreatic calcification. This colon cutoff sign, sentinel loop sign, these are all due to paralytic ileus and inflammation of the bowel. Gallstones and pancreatic calcifications. Gallstones are one of the most common etiology to cause the acute pancreatitis. Pancreatic calcifications may be seen in parenchyma because saponification of the fat with calcium, formation of the stones, calcifications. Ultrasound, initial investigation of TIS. It shows gallbladder stones, CBD dilatation, pancreatic edema, peripancreatic fluid collection. How the peripancreatic fat strandings are there? There are normal or inflamed or necrosed, but necrosis of the pancreas may be difficult to identify in ultrasound. So you can go for CT abdomen, CECT, contrast enhanced CT, triple phase CT. In this, arterial phase, venous phase, portal phase. These are our three phases: arterial, venous, portal phase. Initial 15 seconds is arterial phase. 15 to 30 seconds, it is venous phase. 45 to 60 seconds, it is portal phase. There is equilibrium phase in between. Whenever there is diagnostic doubt, go for CECT, but immediate CECT we can't find much more information regarding pancreatic tissue necrosis. So after 48 hours, 48 to 72 hours, CT is more sensitive. This is useful to differentiate between mild and severe forms. Paracentesis, we are not doing right now. There is much more useful. There is no much more useful with this paracentesis. This is useful when there is any suspicion of pancreatic ascites, pancreatic fistulas. We will aspirate by ultrasound guided or CT guided and go for diagnosing MLH levels, cytology, diagnostic laparotomy, 5% of the patients require to exclude or treat the other abdominal conditions because signs and symptoms are not specific to the pancreas. Sometimes peptic ulcer disease which may perforate or bleed, mimic similarly. Cholangitis mimic similarly. Any aneurysmal rupture, aortic aneurysm rupture into the intra-abdomen, which also be mimic like that, diffuse pain abdomen, abdomen distension. in trauma cases, and in that situation we will go for exploratory laparotomy or diagnostic laparotomy or exploratory laparotomy. A diagnostic laparoscopy nowadays, whenever there is doubt in diagnosis, we will go for diagnostic laparoscopy. Assessment of severity. Early prognostic signs initially is proposed by Ranson, 1974. 11 objectives. 5 measured at the time of admission and 6 measured after 48 hours of admission. Positive signs less than 2. Positive signs less than 2. Mortality is 0. 3 to 5 up to 20%. More than 7. Mortality is almost more than 50%. These are best used within initial 48 hours to measure all these 11 parameters. There are several limitations. 2 full days are needed. In that time, meantime, patient may land up in septic shock, MODS. These are prognostic criteria. Non-gallstone pancreatitis and gallstone pancreatitis. Two different criteria. For non-gallstone pancreatitis, age more than 55 years, blood glucose more than 200 milligrams per deciliter, WBC more than 16,000, LDH levels more than 350, aspartate aminotransferase levels more than 250. These are 5 parameters at the time of presentation and another 6 parameters in after 48 hours of admission. Those are hematocrit, which is decreased by 10% as compared with admission value. Serum calcium levels less than 8, hypocalcemia. Base deficit more than 4 milliequivalents per liter. Blood nitrogen level increases more than 5 milligrams per deciliter. Fluid requirement to replace 6 liters, more than 6 liters. PaO2 less than 60 mmHg. This is for gallstone pancreatitis. Age is 70 years, where non-gallstone age is more than 55 years. Blood glucose level more than 220, here more than 200. WBC for gallstones it is more than 18,000. For non-gallstones it is more than 16,000. LDH level for gallstones it is more than 400 international units. For non-gallstones, more than 350. Aspartate levels are same, more than 250. Hematocrit decreases more than 10%. Serum calcium level less than 8. Base deficit is 5. Blood urea nitrogen level increases more than 2 milligrams per deciliter. For non-gallstones, it is more than 5. Fluid requirement is more than 4 liters for gallstones. PaO2 is not available. Branson score is more than or equal to 3. Define severe pancreatitis. Then next is Apache 2 score. Quantitative measures of abnormalities of the multiple variables, including vital signs, specific lab parameters, age, chronic health status of the patient. The main advantage is immediate assessment. Score more than 8 or more than 8 is severe disease. Biochemical markers. Acute phase proteins like CRP, alpha-1 antitrypsin, alpha-2 macroglobulin, phospholipase A2, polymorphonuclear elastase. These are all acute phase reactants. CRP more than 210 milligrams in first 4 days, or it is more than 120 at the end of first week. This is their CRP value has high sensitivity and specificity with severity of the pancreatitis. Most reliable indicator marker. Interleukin 6, urinary TAP, transaminopepidases. CT scan with IV contrast is gold standard. Mild attack is interstitial edema, but microcirculation remains intact. Uniform enhancement. There is uniform edema of the pancreatic tissue. So uniform enhancement. In severe attack, there is loss of microcirculation, so that necrosis of the tissue, decreased enhancement, there is any air bubble, it indicates infected necrosis or abscess. sensitivity of the CT increases after 4 days of the onset of attack. CT severity index of acute pancreatitis. Balthazar's CT severity index of acute pancreatitis. Pancreatic inflammation. Normal pancreas 0. Focal or diffuse pancreatic enlargement 1. Intrinsic pancreatic alteration with peripancreatic fat inflammatory changes 2 points. Single fluid collection or phlegmon 3. 2 or more fluid collection or gas present in the adjacent pancreatic tissue 4 points. Pancreatic necrosis. No pancreatic necrosis 0. Less than or equal to 30% 2. 30 to 50% 4. More than 50% 6. 2 4 6. 30 30 to 50 more than 50. CT severity index 0 to 3. Mortality is 3%. Morbidity is 8%. If it is 4 to 6, mortality is 6%. Morbidity is 35%. If it is 7 to 10, mortality is 17% and morbidity is high 92%. Another criteria, Atlanta's criteria for acute pancreatitis. Organ failure, as defined as shock systolic, blood pressure is less than 90. Pulmonary insufficiency, partial alveolar oxygen saturation that is less than 60. Renal failure, creatinine is more than 2 after resuscitation. Gastrointestinal bleeding, more than 500 ml per 24 hours. Systemic complications, disseminated intravascular coagulation, DIC. This is due to consumption of the coagulation factors, thrombocytopenia because of sepsis, platelet count is less than 1 lakh, Fibrinogen less than 1 gram per liter due to consumption of the coagulation factors. Fibrin split products more than 80 micrograms per deciliter. Metabolic disturbance, hypocalcemia, calcium levels less than 7.5 milligrams per deciliter. Local complications like necrosis, abscess, pseudocyst. Severe pancreatitis is defined by the presence of any evidence of organ failure or local complications. According to Atlanta's criteria, chest X-ray, there is pulmonary infiltrate, pleural effusion, outcome is bad. Obesity, severe outcome. If BMI more than 30, risk of death is high. Differential diagnosis, bowel obstruction, cholecystitis or cholangitis, mesenteric ischemia, mesenteric infraction, perforated ala viscus, treatment aspect, acute attack evolves in two phases, initial 1 to 2 weeks, acute inflammation and autodigestion process due to high inflammatory mediator levels. Latter phase, complications after 2 weeks, local complications like necrosis, abscess, pseudocyst, severity ranges from mild and self-limiting to life-threatening, necrotizing variety. For moderate to severe attack, ICU management, because hypotension is there, hypovolemia is there, hypoalbuminemia, sepsis, secondary infections. There is sudden cardiac arrest due to severe pain, tachypnea due to pleural effusion, pulmonary infiltrates. So observation is needed. For mild pancreatitis, there is no systemic complications. Apache score is low. Ransom signs are low. There is sustained clinical improvement. It is gradual improvement from day by day from the onset. There is no necrosis in CT scan. Severe pancreatitis. High Apache 2 score more than 8, 8 or more than 8. Ransom score is high. Encephalopathy. Severe dehydration. Hematocrit more than 50. Urine output less than 50 ml per hour. Hypotension, fever, peritonitis. Initial management includes pain management and hypovolemia. For pain, pain is due to stimulation of increased gastric and pancreatic secretions due to cholinergic stimulation. Narcotic medication, initially first priority goes for NSAIDs. If NSAIDs not work properly, patient complains still pain, then go for buprenorphine, propoxyphene. Still not decreased pain, intensity of the pain not decreased, then go for opioids. Morphine should be avoided because it causes respiratory distress. Already patient was in tachypnea and distress. If we go for morphine, it further increases the respiratory distress, so we may lose the patient. Fluid management, most important. Massive intravenous transfusions to overcome the hypovolemia. Half of the fluids, maybe colloids, synthetic colloids. Most of the times we use crystalloids only. If attack is more severe, Patient is in shock. We go for colloid transfusion, Hemasil, Hemastarch, gel fusion. Careful CVP monitoring. IV electrolyte solutions. Which may aggravate hypoalbuminemia. To compensate that, plasma supplementation, albumin, blood, and plasma substitutes. Pain is due to increased gastric secretions, so that we go for bowel rest. Restriction of oral feeds, go for nasogastric decompression by putting rails. H2 blockers, proton pump inhibitors, and secretion inhibitors like somatostatin analogs. Octreotide, which reduces the pancreatic secretion. Antibiotics and nutritional support. Appropriate antibiotics are mepenem, cefuroxime, metronidazole, fluoroquinolones. If there is any fungal infection, secondary fungal infection, go for antifungals. By putting patient on nil by mouth, giving bowel rest, there is alternate food supplementation and nutritional supplementation by TPN, which is given after initial phase is over. Initial phase usually lasts for one to 2 weeks. Enteral nutrition. Enteral nutrition is useful as soon as possible. We can go for starting enteral nutrition, which reduces the complications. Other treatment modalities, but not much benefit, not much useful, like peritoneal dialysis, anti-inflammatory agents, indomethacin steroids, protease inhibitors like eprotinin, carbexate, mesylate, platelet activating factor antagonist like cipafant, PAFH. Treatment of biliary pancreatitis may needs urgent intervention within 48 to 72 hours because there is slippage of stones or obstruction of the CBD, which may backflow into pancreatic duct. Bile goes into pancreatic duct, which may cause biliary pancreatitis. In this situation, initially we go for the ERCP to clear the stones, any obstruction by putting the stent, and then go for cholecystectomy as soon as possible. If ERCP is not useful, then go for cholecystectomy with CBD exploration to clear the obstructive pathology. Okay, I will stop here and I will continue with complications and chronic pancreatitis in next class. Please give your attendance in chat box. Thank you. Please put your attendance in chat box. Don't forget.